with 8 rounds gone, this is how the Drivers' Championship looks. Burns leads by 4 points from Sainz, with Gronholm just behind in 3rd. Loeb is now 4th, ahead of Solberg, McRae and Martin. But it wasn't a Finn that took the first stage of this rally, last night's 1.25 mile super special. Because first blood there went to Ford's Marco Martin, beating Marcus Gronholm by 0.4 of a second. And one driver is out already. Skoda's Didier Auriol. A reoccurrence of an arm injury meant he called it a day after stage 1. Jyväskylä is where we are for the weekend, to the northwest of Helsinki, and here's where the remaining drivers will head. 23 stages, 254 miles in all. Tomorrow's stages including Onipohja and the really big jumps. Today is relatively short, but it won't be long before the drivers are hitting top speed. And our winner will emerge on Sunday afternoon and be able to rightly claim that he's triumphed on a motorsport classic. A beautiful scene to greet us for the start of Friday morning. Finland, a lovely place to win a rally, especially if your name is Richard Burns. And look at this, Robbie, extra homework before he gets stuck into these stages.
Yeah, it's quite often that Richard will do that. He'll have a look at his pace notes just to remind him of the stage that's up ahead and how fast it is in some of the more tricky bends.
9 o'clock, down to business. Burns goes to work. Can he win this rally? So often the bridesmaid here, never the bride.
Well, he's been quicker than Marcus here last year, but on recent form, John, I think he might struggle.
Carlos Sainz, really? I know we say that Marcus Gronholm is the danger to Burns, but this guy is in the championship, isn't he? We shouldn't forget that today.
Yeah, no, he's been driving very well, just getting a bit sideways on that loose gravel at the edge of the road. But we've got to look at the Citroen's speed on these fast gravel events. In New Zealand it wasn't quite at the sharp end, and I think they'll have to push really hard to keep it on the pace of the Peugeots and perhaps Marco Martin's Ford.
And he's already slower than Richard Burns, and by 5.3 seconds. That battle won by Richard, but who's going to win this one? Marcus Gronholm, 3 times a winner here, and likes an opening stage in Finland.
Yeah, and plenty of local support on the stages. Look at the fans in there, they absolutely line the roads from start to finish.
So once again, Burns the best time through here at 10 minutes 59 seconds. Gronholm's got something in hand here, hasn't he?
It's looking very good. He's definitely going to be quicker. Yep, minus 8.2. That's a fantastic time by Gronholm.
Now, next up on the road for us to look at Marco Martin, who, when you remember Argentina, likes spending a lot of time off the road, and he was flying there, Robbie.
Yeah, but I've got high expectations for this car and driver this weekend. He's really in the groove at the moment, and they've had a very good test here in Finland.
And he's experienced here as well.
Oh, 6th gear moment there. He did well to hang on to that car through that section.
Maybe 46 minus right.
Michael Park's in for a high-speed run this weekend.
I think we are. My heart's in my mouth.
Look at the time, absolutely equal as Gronholm. Fantastic.
After 13 odd miles, they record the same time. And this is Harry Rovanperä, a local here who must know this place like the back of his hand.
Yeah, he's been on the podium here before, John, and he'll be keen for a good result this weekend. But he's hit something on the inside of that corner.
That hurt.
Probably front right. It looked as if he was just cutting a bit of the corner just too much.
Well, in that short shot inside the car, he looked very anxious.
Yeah, it spun the car around. He's got going again. Doesn't seem to be too much damage. Oh, no, hang on. Yeah, I think he's got problems with the front right-hand side of the car, and that's, you know, causing a lot of handling problems.
And this, to make it worse, is a first stage on Friday.
Hazard lights are on. Yeah, the car doesn't sound right there either, it's strangled.
Inevitable. He's got to pull over, hasn't he?
Well, it's a decision you have to make on the stage. If you've got serious problems, you've got to deal with them. Yeah, Harry's carrying out repairs. It's rally over for him. There won't be a podium place this year.
Well, you're right, it's an incident that costs him over 20 minutes in time, even though he does get back into the rally. But after 2 stages, it's Martin from Gronholm with Solberg in 3rd.
So Gronholm's got to get in gear if he's to stop the Estonian Marco Martin from stealing the Finns' home rally from right under his very nose. The car skidding about under braking, ready to break loose at any moment. Grönholm finds every last bit of grip. Marcus is the only Finn in contention for the lead right now. But teammate Richard Burns is already through the stage. Grönholm's got the advantage of running 2 places down the order, so that should work for the Finn. Over the line, and it does. Grönholm's almost 7 seconds faster than his teammate. He fell really ill in Germany. Now Petter Solberg's got another bug, 1 for speed. He's 3rd overall, and Solberg loves this rally. He beat the Flying Finns at their own game a few years ago, soaring through the pine trees en route to a major crash landing. And even on terra firma, he's flying.
Keep right of a crest, 60, 6 left left, keep in of a crest, keep left of a crest, 30, line into cut half, 4 right left, to be maybe. Keep in to crest.
He's got a plane, he's got a helicopter, and this is Colin McRae's 3rd flying machine, the Citroën Zara. Colin and Derek Bringer are fastest of the Citroëns, but the Scots complaining about suspension, and that's breaking his rhythm. Solberg's got 3rd nailed for now, but it's an all-Brit bout for 4th. Colin should have the edge. He's running half a dozen places behind Richard Burns, and for the Scot, the road is a smoother, grippier place. Here's the clock. And McRae nails it by almost 3 seconds to go 4th. 10,000 Estonians have schlepped across the Baltic to cheer on their national hero, Marco Martin, and just imagine the pressure. But Marco's got bigger worries. The start of this stage is brand new, and he's nervous. And you can see how he's less aggressive than he was on the last stage, taking less risks, but he can't lift off too much. The camber will throw him off if the power is not on. Is the last half going to be enough for Marco to hang on to the lead? Absolutely flat out, well over 100 miles an hour.
56 left.
And Martin does it, he makes it a hat-trick, 3 stages from 3. Marco Martin's lead now 4.1 seconds, and there's nothing Marcus Grönholm has been able to do about it. But what about the fight for 3rd? 3/4 of a second separating Solberg to Burns. The speed, the aggression, you'd have thought this was a 100 metres race, not a 3-day rally. The top 6 is alive, no more so than the fight for 3rd. Solberg goes into these 2 in 3rd, but loses time after a heavy landing, opening the way for Burns and McRae. Burns is having to fight the other drivers and the thick gravel. He hustles his 206 through the corners, wrestles every mile an hour on the straights with raw aggression. Handbrake on. And off. McRae blasts into Valcolla. He's in the middle of this 3-way fight for 3rd. But McRae nearly throws it off on the first corner. Only by keeping on the power does he claw back onto the road. It means Burns takes 3rd, and McRae, who then has trouble with his pace notes on stage 5, remains 4th, just ahead of Solberg. Into the first corner on stage 4 with Marco Martin, and he too slides wide, exactly the same spot as McRae. But unlike McRae, it completely throws Martin. He's now driving erratically. His lead is now in severe danger. After stage 4, the gap to Grönholm is now just 1 second. Marcus Grönholm takes stage 4, and no one has taken the fight to Marco Martin as Grönholm is doing today. It's fantastic, it's fabulous, and it's fast. This duel is being fought at 120 miles an hour, just 4 feet from immovable pine trees. True grit at warp speed. Grönholm looks as if he's hyperventilating. He's concentrating so hard. And just look at Grönholm fight with the wheel. It's his home rally, and so far he's being beaten.
Ja oikein eri helppo 100 ja vaseri helppo yli nypyn sisältä 120. Ja nyppy täys 100. Vasenlaita oikein 120.
Remember, Marcus Grönholm is just a second behind Marco Martin going into this stage. Over the line, Grönholm breathes a sigh of relief, and look at the time. He's knocked Martin off top spot. Marcus Grönholm now leads the Rally of Finland.
Elsewhere, Tommi Mäkinen suffered a punctured right front tyre on his Subaru on stage 2 and lost the use of his intercom on stage 4, which meant no pace notes. Rally Deutschland winner Sebastian Loeb is still getting to know the Finnish stages, but he's already into the points in 8th.
Gauche en même Milan et 3 sur droite en même Borloo en 2 fois. Droite en même Borloo en 2 fois et frein pour 70 mètres, gauche 90. Frein pour 70 mètres, gauche 90 et ciel tout droit. Ciel tout droit et droite 133. Droite 133 sur attention, gauche 130 000 pas corde. Gauche 130 000 pas corde et droite 130 plus long.
Tony Gardemeister has moved the new Skoda Fabia up to 12th in its first gravel rally.
Vase eri plus lyhyt ei siskirraa. Usko huomio oikein roiku 7. Pyöreä pitkä oikein eri minus risteys. Sisloiva aukee 4. Pitkä vasen ylijarrulta huomio 4. Pitkä pyöreä vasen K plus siis. 120.
And Freddie Loix is the leading Hyundai in 14th overall.
Stage 7, and look at this, the rain is coming down and the umbrellas are going up, and this is going to change conditions, but will it play into the hands of Richard Burns or not?
Johnny's only got 19 seconds between him and the leader. He's still in the fight. He's going to be pushing hard, obviously, and this is one of the most famous stages of the rally. There's a sequence quite near the end. It's just all high-speed crests and jumps and really difficult to get your line right.
Lift off for Burns there.
It's not huge, but you've got to keep the wheels on the road to get acceleration. On this wide section of road, it's really important to get the line right. And Marcus is looking good, flicking the car sideways round that fast left-hander.
He's back to his normal self, isn't he, Robbie? Because he's won a couple of stages and he's shared one with Marco Martin. But Martin is right behind him. He can't afford to slow here.
Yeah, that's a huge battle. Oh, it's a bit rutted in this section. It's quite near the end and very sandy. You can see how it's started to cut up already.
Well, Richard Burns has set the fastest time so far. Let's see how Marcus does against it.
Yeah, Marcus is looking as if he's trying very hard. Lots of steering input, which is unusual from him. No, he's going to be slower than Richard.
And he is by 2.8 seconds. Not bad, Burnsy. Now to Marco Martin coming through this section of blind crests, and how.
Yeah, he's not shy, is he? He gives it everything over these crests.
And people around him, you know, say that Marco Martin is looking very relaxed this weekend.
Right, loose maybe.
Yeah, let's have a look at his technique and Michael Park on these pace notes.
Easy right long, tightens to 5. 6 minus left, keep left and jump.
5 and 6 is gears, so high speed corners. Sliding quite wide there, using all the road. Pendulum effect, swinging the car around there.
Junction 3 right.
Trying to keep it on the clean line all the time, but remember it's wet, so the mud's starting to appear on the inside of the corners.
40, 6 left, 6 right.
Now Marcus Gronholm's time is the one we've put up, a 4 minutes 6.2 seconds. Richard Burns has gone fastest, but the battle, remember, here is between Martin and Gronholm.
100.
It's getting close.
I don't think he's going to do it. That's a disadvantage for him running in these conditions, plus 1.9, so Marcus extends his lead.
And then to Colin McRae, who comes into this in 4th place, but the gap to Burns ahead of him needs trimming.
Yeah, 13 seconds, it's possible. Colin has to keep the pressure on Richard. This is this big section down through here. Look at the speed of that.
Lift off for McRae.
6 right minus over crest into 6 left, 100.
Plenty of 6th gear action, and listen to that engine labouring. McRae goes on to set 7th quickest in the stage, but that puts him in a massive battle with Peter Solberg for 4th place. Marcus Gronholm ekes out a bit more time from Marco Martin.
Stages 8 and 9. And McRae is going to have to push hard himself, because Solberg is less than a second behind him. And on stage 8, Solberg punts McRae off 4th place.
6 left, opens 40, line into flat and cut 6 right to keep into the crest, into short 6 left plus, 60, keep left into flat, 6 right plus to the crest, 60, 6 left plus to keep left to the crest, a big cut, slippy, 6 right.
Into jump.
But McRae doesn't like the Viking pillaging 4th spot. In a car lacking the top speed of the Subaru or the Peugeot, McRae relies on bravery.
Into 6 right, 100.
The Flying Scotsman's taking a leaf out of the Flying Finns manual. McRae hits back on stage 9, he retakes 4th. No 30-mile-an-hour speed limit through this village. Hanging on to the coattails of the midfield mayhem, Carlos Sainz is 6th. Double the effort, half the reward. You've got a feel for Richard Burns. First place on the road means he's got to risk far more just to keep up. But Burns is working for tomorrow. Spade work today should build the foundations for a solid attack on the leaders tomorrow. Marcus Grönholm is really feeling the pressure of a day spent sparring with Marco Martin, and the pressure takes its toll. Out of sight, he hits a rock, and for a few heart-stopping moments, Grönholm thinks he's blown it. But he hasn't. He keeps going, but after stage 8, he's now only a second ahead of Martin. Over the hill and far away, how long can this ding-dong go on?
70, turn 2 left here.
See what I mean? Surely a car or driver's going to crack under the strain in this fight through the forest, this rumble in the jungle. Swelling Grönholm's stumble, Martin ramps up the pressure on stage 9. Remember, there's just a second between Grönholm and Martin, and Grönholm's time is Martin's target.
50, 6 left.
And Martin scores a bullseye. 3.5 seconds faster, he's back in front.
So after tonight's super special, the 10th of the weekend's 23 stages, Martin's lead over Grönholm is slim. Then it's Burns with a 25-second gap over McRae, with Solberg, Sainz, Loeb and Mäkinen filling the point-scoring places. On this event, you know there's a thin line between bravery and insanity. Well, that line blurs today. Unimpoya is the second stage of the 7, survive it, and you do it again 2 stages later. And in the middle of them, stage 13 and the biggest jump of the lot.
If you go down to the woods today, the last thing you'll find is a picnic. Richard Burns spent yesterday fighting the gravel. Now he's got a better road position. He wants to make it a threesome in the fight for first.
Left max, 40, flat left in long, 70, easy right, in long, 150, flat left plus to crest, 120, slight left over crest, 20 slight left, 100, right max long, 120, slight crest 20, flat right to flat right long, 80, flat right minus, 80, flat left plus 80, medium right over crest and medium right minus, in 30, fast right 40, medium right plus cut, sorry, and cut, 50, medium left, tightens long, 80, flat left in 100.
More tense, more stressed, and more focused than ever before. Even without Burns joining in, Grönholm's got enough to contend with, trying to snatch first back from Marco Martin. Forget bullets, forget the Italian job, these stunts are for real. The pressure's putting Grönholm on the edge and almost over it. Look at surprise on his face, and here it is again. Marcus Grönholm loses the back, but somehow escapes the trees and an early exit from this rally, but his rhythm is now going to be all over the place. We've seen what the pressure's done to Grönholm. Now it's Martin's turn. He ramps up the volume and goes for broke as he tries to open that 2.5 second lead he started with this morning. You are watching a classic. This is a piece of rallying history in the making.
40, easy right, jump, 50, easy right, crest, 130, double crest, 200, jump, 40, 5 minus left slow, 5 minus slow, 100, jump, 80, the jump, 55 right over crest, very narrow.
Back with Grönholm, and his steering slightly out of kilter, and the bodywork's looking very second-hand. But still, his speed looks supersonic.
40, 6 left, crest,
The last
40,
few
6 minus
metres of the
left,
stage to the finish with Marco Martin. Grunholm's already set his time. Now
40,
it's
crest
Marco's
left,
turn.
6 minus right, fast. 55 minus
And already
right.
he's slower than Marcus Grunholm. Marco Martin's failed to beat Marcus even after that super scary moment right at the start. Martin still leads, but now the gap is just 0.7 of a second. It's time to get out the Valium.
Stage 12, Onin Poya, almost unpronounceable but unforgettable once you've been through it. So let's fly over the stage and over the jump where Richard Burns came unstuck last year. But it's the best 20 miles of the rally. The stage that separates the men from the boys, they say. An adrenaline rush, Robbie. Here's Petter Solberg.
It's a high-speed roller coaster right through this stage, and probably one of the most dangerous in the World Championship. The speeds are so high and the crests are so difficult just to get it right. Now, Petter's just had 5.6 seconds taken from him by Colin McRae, so can he respond?
And here is the man ahead of him, the man that Solberg wants to catch, Colin McRae, who I reckon, if his reputation is anything, is going to go for this like never before.
Certainly fully committed over there. Oh, look at that jump. I don't think he even lifted off of that. That must be a record there in the Onin Poya jump, and he certainly flew that Citroen. Big action from McRae. He's locked in that fight with Petter Solberg for fourth, but he's not far off third place either.
Minus line, cut, 30 right times to 5 plus cut, and very long, 6 right, into 3 left, open, and 6 left, and right, 6 left, tightens, into right over crest, tightens to 3 plus, and turn 6 left, 100, into long 6 left line, open, and 6 left, and right, tightens to 6 over crest, into long 6 left line, and crest, and 6 right over crest, open.
There's the time that Petter Solberg has set, 15 minutes 47.1. How's he going to compare?
And long 6 right.
He's looking good. 6th gear, we've seen a lot of that in this rally. Yep, minus 7.3, that extends the gap to Solberg.
Now to Harry Rovanperä, whose rally is all but over after losing those 20 minutes yesterday, but drives with pride here because he comes from Jyväskylä.
Yeah, local knowledge helps here, and look how committed he was over these sections. Another big jump from him, lining himself up for the next crest. He's got it wrong. Onto the loose on the outside. That was a massive crash.
Look at the co-driver. Can hardly believe it's happened.
Harry just got it wrong. The line got onto the gravel on the outside, had to correct, and at that speed there's no second chance.
Right, well, let's take a deep breath.
That was the jump from last year where it all went wrong for Burns, and he hardly got off the ground this year.
And Burnsy, not surprisingly, he's taken his foot off the gas, and you can't blame him, can you, really?
Yeah. Burns in 5th gear. Remember, these Peugeots have only got 5-speed gearboxes, so that's flat out for him across this section.
Long, 120.
Seems to think he's got it wrong. This is Marcus Grönholm. Marcus Grönholm, if he gets it right, will catch Marco Martin and take the lead.
Marcus Grönholm's going to know this stage extremely well. Look at the commitment levels down through that section. He's pushing very hard. Remember, he's locked in this huge battle with Marco Martin. There's only 0.7 of a second between them.
There's no way this guy wants Marco Martin to come over the water from Estonia and take this, his rally.
Great shots from the West Cam helicopter. Down into the hairpin, that's about 20.
And he's waving! He can't do that.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a guy that's fighting for a World Championship rally, does it?
And this is the guy that he's fighting with, who has a lead, a slim lead of 0.7 of a second.
Not much air there from Marco Martin in the Focus, but he's trying to preserve his car. He saw how last year Richard Burns ended his challenge there.
Well, the end is in sight here for the first.
Big action again down through that section. It really is awesome to watch this.
Flat right minus.
15.31, the time set by Marcus Grönholm.
And flat left.
So there's 0.7 of a second between them.
It's not going to happen.
No, he's over. He's lost the lead of the rally.
It's Grönholm's.
Yeah, but it's close, isn't it?
That's how close, but it doesn't matter. Gronholm is the new leader of the rally. Everybody else holds station.
Tommy Mäkinen's not having the best of home rallies, only 8th and in a tough battle with Piccolisto. There's only 6 seconds between them. Mäkinen shows how it's done over rubbish jump, but you don't want to get much bigger than that.
So this is Juuso Piccolisto. Let's have a look at him. He's going, whoa, big jump, and I think he lost his rear window.
Carlos Sainz has been treading carefully, but is still in the points.
This is Carlos Sainz, he's in 6th place. Oh, landed on his nose quite heavily there.
50 flat right, tightens don't cut. 50 flat left and slight left over crest in 120. Easy left plus and easy left plus cut 100. Jump maybe okay, slight right. 80 right max stone 120. Crest 50 flat left, 30 flat left in long. 60 flat right tightens and flat right 100. Caution.
So next up's Richard Burns. Yeah, I make him quicker than Colin to this point, so he's responded to the challenge of McRae, but he's losing ground. Virtually no jump at all. Poor show, Burnsy.
A lot of people talk about the merits of staying on the ground as opposed to taking off over the jumps. So if we compare Burns and Piccolisto, you can see that the young Finn is visibly faster. Immediately after the jump, he hasn't braked into it at all. But Burns gradually makes that lost time back up and is equal after just a couple more corners. He goes on to win the stage.
Marcus Gronholm, rally leader but never one for big jumps. Let's see if he backs off. A bit more air than Burnsy, but still very cautious.
50, 6 minus right. 100 flat left and jump 4.
Marco Martin second overall in that massive fight, 3.7 behind Gronholm, but he's backing off. Lands it in its nose, but no problems.
However, Marco is reporting an intermittent electrical problem which is causing concern at Ford, but he's less than a second slower than Gronholm.
Late flat right. 100, 4 plus left. 100, easy right.
See their final car, driven by Tony Gardemeister, retire with engine failure.
Well, some would say you can't get enough of this stage, but then they haven't driven over it. Or flown, like Colin McRae.
Looked as if that Citroen was doing a bunny hop at the front end just picked up there. Derek Ringer on the notes. Oh, huge air again there from McRae. He's really on it through that section.
That's what we're here for. Marcus Gronholm, the winner on this stage the first time through.
Marcus knows this stage better than anybody else, John.
He looks intense, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's fully concentrated. I haven't seen him like this in previous events.
And we haven't seen much of this part of this stage,
Oh,
have we?
listen, there's a noise in the front right.
He's in trouble.
Something's going on. Something in the front suspension, I presume, has collapsed.
You're telling me, look at that!
He's lost a wheel. Looks like the hub has disappeared from the front right-hand side.
He can't go on short, can he?
Because there's one more stage to go. That's going to spell disaster for him, I think.
Rally number 4 is not going to happen for Marcus Gronholm in Finland.
It didn't look as if he hit anything there either. Yeah, I think it's going to be rally over for Gronholm. You can see it written on his face. Having to slow the car down by the handbrake. You can see the back wheels locked up, nearly took out a couple of Finnish marshals.
4 events now without a win. This guy is most likely to benefit. This is Richard Burns, and if he can finish in the points, he extends his lead over his arch rival.
Yeah, and remember, he never has won here, and he would be very keen to do it, but it's not over yet. Everything can still happen on this kind of event.
But everything is set up for him. This now is his opportunity.
He'll certainly be trying to consolidate his position, John. I wouldn't imagine he'll be taking any risks because of the fact he has to score good points for that championship. look at that. Marco Martin, I think he out-jumped Colin McRae on that, and his fans are delighted.
But Marco Martin, remember, Robbie, is the guy that Richard Burns has got to pass, but Marco has still got this electrical gremlin.
Yeah, it's costing him some time. The differentials aren't working quite perfectly, and that'll knock his confidence just slightly, but it didn't look like it. Let's look at his time. Dropped a lot there, and Burns is within striking distance.
And on stage 15, there are bigger problems for Marco Martin, who loses more time to Richard Burns, but he's lucky to stay on the road and remain leader of the rally. But there's... And that minute and that lack of concentration drop Colin McRae to 5th. Carlos Sainz is in 3rd, and Richard Burns now just 13 seconds behind the new leader, Marco Martin.
The top 6 is now a fragile-looking place. With Grönholm gone, the midfield is wide open. Petter Solberg is 2nd on stage 16 and wins stage 17.
Unseen, one right tight and slippy maybe. 200. Flat shot, 6 right minus.
Solberg's spat is with Carlos Sainz, who's won here before, but not for over a decade. He's risen slowly towards the sharp end of the leaderboard. Public, Colin McRae showed Derek Ringer some charity despite the most basic of mistakes from his once championship-winning co-driver. But in reality, McRae is fuming, and his anger manifests itself as raw speed, the speed that won him the '95 world title and earned him the nickname McCrash.
Left, tightens to 6, minus over crest. And long left, tightens to 5. Opens to 6 over crest.
Colin steps over the edge. McRae's crossed the fine line between speed and smash. It all looks a bit Heath Robinson, but Ford's repair job on Marco Martin's Focus has got him to the start of the stage. Can it now keep him in front of this rally?
50, 6 minus right. 6 minus 30, 6 minus right long. 100, crest, late, 5 minus left.
No is the answer. Martin's back on form. The car's held up and he's back to full speed. And just when it looks as if a Brit might be in with a chance of winning this rally, Burns hits trouble. Just look at the smoke coming from his wheel. It turns out he has the same problem as Grönholm. A wheel bearing fails and he drops almost a minute. So Martin breathes easy for once. Burns is still 2nd, but now has Solberg and Sainz less than half a second behind him.
So Martin with a big cushion at the top of this morning's leaderboard, but have Ford sorted out those electrical gremlins? And look at this, there's less than a second between Burns, Solberg and Sainz in the battle for that 2nd place. Mäkinen is the only Finn in the top 6. So 2 days down, 1 to go, and the final leg here in Finland divides into 3 stages in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. There are a couple of runs through the spectacular Mokiperä, and stage 21, Kuohu, is one that the drivers have never done before. And a beautiful morning greets us for a day on which Carlos Sainz could find himself in 2nd position, Robbie, if he can get those 0.3 of a second back.
There's going to be a huge battle here between Burns, Solberg and Sainz. Carlos in 3rd place at the moment, but only 0.3 behind 2nd.
He certainly looked determined enough on the line.
Very frantic on the steering wheel. He's meaning business. This jump's about 500 metres into the stage. Big air over there. Oh, big moment from Carlos. Ran wide on that left-hander, got onto the loose, and he hit something in there. Let's look at it again with this amateur video.
He recovered well, didn't he?
I think that kept him on the road, but the camber looks really bad on the outside of that corner, and obviously cold tyres as well.
He needed to recover. He can't let it go here, and neither can this guy. Petter Solberg, is he cold today? What are his tyres like?
Petter said last night that he was sounding confident. He's going to give it everything, I'm sure he always does. That's a big jump, kept in the middle, down to this left-hander where Carlos had his moment, and look,
Mills hanging on to the cage.
Petter had exactly the same moment. Let's take a look at it again. These boys are trying hard, but I think it's just the camber that's catching them out.
And they're all trying hard to catch this guy. They want that second place off Richard Burns.
Absolutely, because if Richard finishes second, it's 8 points, and they really don't want him to be getting that. Increases his lead in the championship. Bit of air, not much. Burnsy's not known for big air. Yeah, braked well and got the car into the inside of the corner. No moments there for him.
Well, look, here's a treat. Let's compare Petter Solberg's vision from his car on the bonnet with that of Richard Burns inside the car.
Plus long 40.
Richard looks to be pushing hard as well. A lot of steering wheel action from him. He knows he's going to have a lot of pressure. 0.5 of a second separating 3 drivers.
Flat middle of a jump, maybe.
Now the commentary changes here to Phil Mills, the co-driver for Petter. Does he sound more frantic to you, Robbie?
It all looks pretty quick, doesn't it?
80. 6 right half long. Opens 40. Keep left over crest. 30. Cuts the
Neither
deep.
driver.
Petter's ahead.
Minus. Opens 150.
Petter's looking good for this position change. Yep, he's got second place from Burns.
He's done well. Good start to the morning for him.
Yeah, excellent. Up from 4th to 2nd.
Both of them would trade everything they've got for where this guy is, Marco Martin, and well, he's not cruising, even though he's got this large gap of a minute.
He's got over a minute of a lead, but he certainly hasn't backed off by the view of that shot.
135 left.
Michael Park on the notes. 6th gear again over these crests.
The caps and headphones are bouncing again.
Yeah.
50 crest, 45 minus right. 150.
This is going to be a good time by Marco Martin. Quickest, and he's not really in a battle.
Marco clear stage.
Martin's still the leader, but it's Solberg now into second. Burns and Sainz drop a place. 2 seconds separates the 3.
Moki Pera, another stage on which the Finns learn to fly, but maybe Jussi Välimäki wasn't paying attention during the lesson on landings. He lands right onto a rock hidden in the undergrowth, rips his front left wheel and flips out of the rally. Same jump a few minutes later, and Francois Duval is on course for a manufacturer's point for Ford. But he cuts the corner, clonks the same bit of granite lying by the road. The score now, Rock 2, Rally Cars 0. After that incident on the previous stage, Carlos Sainz's Citroën is far from perfect. The rear suspension is damaged and it's costing him more time. The sun is low and it's blinding the drivers as they come over these jumps. Sainz is close to the point where Duval and Välimäki went out, and he clonks the same rock but still keeps going. Second is now a duel, Burns versus Solberg. And this is bumper cam on car number 7, the Subaru of Petter Solberg.
And caution, keep right of a big jump, 50.
And these are the jumps leading up to the now infamous rock. And the guy on the right's trying to slow Solberg down. Phil Mills calls, don't cut, and Solberg slices past the boulder to set fastest time so far. Richard Burns needs to react fast. Here's the view from inside his 206. Left of the revs is the gears. The Peugeot has 5, and to the right the speed, and the red light shows the brakes.
100, flat right, to flat right, in long 50, fast left, plus to easy left, minus 80, slight left in 30, flat right minus stone 50, left max 30, camber flat left minus 20, easy left plus in long 100.
You couldn't get 2 more different drivers. Burns is the thinker. Solberg drives by the seat of his pants.
Left max and slight left over crest 200.
Heading towards the line. Solberg's time down below. And Burns is faster than Solberg by 1/3 of a second. Well, that fight for second is as thrilling as the fight for the lead on Friday. Now just under half a second between Solberg and Burns.
Stage 20, nearly 16 miles, and Petter's fans are out in force, but the first Subaru we see is Tommi Mäkänen's. His local knowledge is not enough to make up the time lost due to differential problems. despite this massive moment. Even with Sebastian Loeb's lack of experience in Finland, he's continuing to beat Mäkinen, the 5-times Finland winner. He's 5th overall and on course for 4 championship points. Rally leader Marco Martin is backing off. He doesn't want to risk anything, and he's happy with 3rd on the stage. And still the pressure mounts between Petter Solberg and Richard Burns. They're trying to psych each other out and outdrive each other. Many people think it will end in tears for one or both of them. Petter is 0.4 of a second ahead of Burns going into the stage, but can he stay ahead?
Line into turn, 3 left, half long, tightens, cut. Opens 80. Keep out, into neat, 6 right of a crest, extra long, tight and slippy. 4 tightens, don't cut. 60. Keep left of a crest, to cut short 4 right plus of a crest, 20. 5 left half long, tightens early over crest. 5 left of a crest, tightens, opens 180. Line into cut, 5 right minus half long, slippy maybe. And line into 5 left plus half long, opens of a crest, 50. Flat, 6 right plus of a crest, keep in 60. Line into 6 left minus half long, keep in slippy maybe. Line into 4 right minus half long, tightens, keep in. Into early flat, 6 left plus. To keep right of a crest, 20. Early 6 left minus long, opens flat of a long crest, 60. Okay.
Not if this man's got anything to do with it. Richard Burns is determined to come out on top.
20 flat left cut, braking 60, easy right long, and fast right plus, cut long, 50, slight left to crest 80, flat left to flat left in 50, flat left 150.
He's 2.2 seconds quicker than Petter. He wins the stage and moves ahead of Solberg into 2nd.
So Marco Martin still safe out in front, but the fight between Burns and Petter Solberg has become just a little personal.
And it's not been a good weekend for the locals. Tommi Mäkinen is the highest placed Finn in 6th, with the privateers Jana Tahino and Sebastian Lindholm in 7th and 8th. And Freddie Loix and his Hyundai teammate Armin Schwartz are still going and are on course for manufacturer's points.
Fueled by Solberg's mind games, Burns shows the Norwegian that actions speak louder than words. He wins stage 21 and is now 3 seconds in front. Stage 22 and en route to 5th overall after a faultless but not exactly sparkling rally, Sebastian Loeb. His suspension fix sights his Citroën is back to full health, but it's too late to rejoin the fight for 2nd, and he opts for 4th. For Marco Martin, this is the longest day. Every second weighs heavy as he edges towards the finish. This car, don't forget, is only working thanks to a 20-minute rewire yesterday. Not exactly confidence-inspiring.
40, 6 minus left. 100, flat left long. 40 crest. 76.
Minutes after telling me he was going to opt for 3rd, Petter Solberg told the Norwegian press he was going to beat Burns into submission.
Opens extra long, opens of a crest.
Solberg is fastest so far through 22.
Line into short, 6 right plus, opens of a crest, keep in.
It's Burns, and look at that speed. The irony of this battle is the fact the two could be teammates next year. Subaru apparently have upped Peugeot's offer for Burnsy for 2004. Burns has got to remember the championship too. 3rd would still be a good finish and keep him out in front. A crash would not.
100, flat right. To flat right.
And Burns is already slower than Solberg. Petter beats him. The gap now going into the final stage is just 1.8 seconds between Burns and Petter Solberg.
4, 3,
2, 1, co-driver Phil Mills counts Petter Solberg into the last stage of the Rally of Finland, and with Richard Burns behind them, all he can do is initially find 1.8 seconds.
Crucial stage for Solberg, and look at that big moment in through the starts. A dangerous place in Mockipera. Just over 8 miles blast through here. Richard Burns on the line. He's behind Petter on the road, but he's got to defend that second place.
And he's got to race the clock and race himself and hope that all the way through he will keep ahead.
Let's see how he tackles this. Big jump again, yeah, and another big moment. They're right on the edge here.
Big jump, hard landing.
60.
Back to Petter. The road here to important rally and championship points has started.
Oh, again, using every centimetre of the road there. Let's look at his split time. 3:58.0. We'll need to wait and see what Burns does. But look at that Subaru, it's all over the place down there.
But this is rev limiter stuff, isn't it, Robbie? And if the words choke in Phil Mills' mouth, it could all be over at this speed.
These guys are fully on the limit, John. I don't think these cars can go any quicker.
Back to Richard Burns. This is so tight, and here, approaching the part in the stage where we took the split time for Petter Solberg, Robbie.
Yeah, it's going to be crucial this point. He's over 1.8, that makes him exactly equal at this point in the stage.
Absolutely level.
It's going to be a blast to the finish.
Half a stage left to go and there's nothing to split them.
This is so tight, it's unbelievable.
P2 cuts that corner, but can he find others? Can he keep the second place?
Well, you've got to think that Petter's got the advantage already. He's already taken 1.8 seconds from Burns in the first part of the stage. Here comes the flying finish, 6:47.8.
But Robbie, that's not the reaction of a happy man. He doesn't think he's done enough.
He thinks he's blown it.
Well done anyway. 48.0.
Have you done enough?
I did a mistake in the first left corner. I lost it completely. I had completely flat over the first jump, and I jumped almost off the road, and I lost so much speed from the left corner and to the jumps, and
So the time has been set, 6 minutes 47.8. What can Richard Burns do with it?
You're 1.8 faster at the second split. It's even now. It's even now. Absolutely, it's even now.
David Richards, rights holder to WRC TV.
Petter doesn't look convinced. These guys could do with knowing that time. There's Petter's time. Here comes Burnsy.
This is hair-raising stuff. I don't think he's going to do it, John.
He's not.
No, Burns has lost second place. It's Petter's.
On the last stage of the rally. Well, he looks like a man who's won the rally, not just got a second place off Richard Burns. Because neither of them, let's face it, Robbie, could touch this guy all weekend.
Yeah, Marco Martin's driven brilliantly, 8 fastest times, and without that niggling electrical problem yesterday, really a faultless rally. And Michael Park's happy.
Exactly. What were they saying? Marco, where are you? Where are you?
A shake of the hands and a chance to have a laugh at last.
What a fantastic rally to win.
Marco, congratulations.
Thank you. It means quite a lot to me to win it here in Finland. It's been always my dream to be fast in Finland, and I really think drivers who can win here can win everywhere.
So the win is Martin's. Solberg nicks second at the death. Burns must settle for third place. Sainz the best placed Citroën ahead of Loeb. Mäkinen and the 2 Finnish privateers fill the other points places. And as it turns out, it's Petter Solberg who's first back to the Ford service area. He congratulates his old team and they chuck a load of water over him. This is where Martin ends up, proving that you don't have to be a Finn to be first in Finland. Martin and his co-driver Michael Park break the Scandinavian stranglehold for the first time in 11 years, and didn't those Estonians love it. And it's a result that moves Marco Martin up into 6th place in our championship with 5 rounds to go. At the top, Richard Burns increases his lead over Carlos Sainz to 5 points, but look at that, just 12 points separate those top 6 drivers.